He was great with us coming over from NHL.com. We were talking all things hockey props. He comes in with a full slew of props for us. Let's bring on the one and only Troy Perlowitz. How has your off season been?
Thank you so much for having me. The off season is great. I'd love to catch up on rest and everything, but the start of the season and as a sports fan in October, it's great. I go back to my Sports Center days. The sports equinox with all four major sports in North America are,
It's my
I'm sure
favorite time of year. What has stood out the most to you since the start of the NHL season?
The NHL is gearing up towards, it's an Olympic year for the NHL. So I think there's been a lot of talk about that February break where there'll be a lot of eyeballs on the Olympics, which is great. I love the young youth in the NHL. The game is in a really good spot. I remember 10 years ago, we were looking for who's going to be the next Crosby and Ovechkin. And we thought that McDavid was, and he is, McDavid, McKinnon. But there's some other great youth hockey player or youth in the game, which has been great. It's been on full display so far. The Calder Trophy race is going to be one to watch towards the end of the year because I think there's 5 or 6 candidates that are going to be really in the race to win it this year.
Let's talk about who's in it tonight. I love getting all your props from you, and you always come with so many of them. So let's start with over in Colorado, Nathan MacKinnon, 2+ points against the Columbus Blue Jackets, +115. Decent value there. Why?
Yeah, Nathan MacKinnon's a superstar. He already has 8 points in 4 games this year. Going against Columbus, these are 2 of the fastest teams in the NHL. Colorado and Edmonton are probably the 2 fastest. Columbus is right there. Not a lot of people know that they have a ton of fast players. Adam Fantilli's fast. Zach Werenski is fast. Nathan MacKinnon might be the fastest player in the NHL. He's playing on this line with Martin Necas, who's also fast, and Arturi Lehkonen, who's one of the most underrated players in the game in his ability to get to the net. So Nathan MacKinnon, I think he's got 24 points he's got 14 points in the last six games against Columbus. That's incredible. I really like him to go not just 1 point, but 2 points tonight. And like you said, that's good value for a Colorado team that we thought was going to be great. Offensively, we were a little worried about their goaltending situation, but whether it's Scott Wedgwood, it doesn't really matter who's in net. Colorado's off to a great start, and Nathan MacKinnon is a big reason why.
Before we get to the rest of the props, I just got the alert 5 minutes ago that Brady Tkachuk, with the right thumb injury, finally underwent surgery, expected to be out until at least Thanksgiving. How does that affect the team?
Personally, my fantasy team is not happy with that news.
Oh, boy.
Brady Tkachuk covers a lot of categories in fantasy. He covers hits, he gets shots on goal, and of course he scores goals. And an Ottawa team that I had high expectations for. They made the playoffs last year for the first time in 7 years. He's a huge heart and soul guy, obviously their team captain. It's a huge hurt for them. They are deep, in my opinion. They are deep enough to overcome this kind of injury. And if you're going to have a player like Brady Tkachuk have to miss 6 to 8 weeks, might as well want it now, right? When you get that out of the way. So at the heart of the season,
who benefits? Where can we look in the props market, whether it's game by game, like in a future sense? Well, I guess not really futures, but where on a game by game sense can we then find props that someone's going to benefit from Tkachuk being out?
Yeah, I'll give you 2 names. Tim Stützle, who's very good. He's a line mate of Brady Tkachuk's, and it might hurt him a little bit in the prop market, so I might stay away from him. But someone that might ascend is a player named Shane Pinto, who's off to a really hot start. He had 4 goals in his first 4 games for Ottawa. He plays center. He could play center or wing, but I assume with Tkachuk out, he might ascend to that first line again, either center or wing spot next to Tim Stützle, and he plays on the power play as well for Ottawa. I'd look for him to, kind of pick up the slack as Tkachuk heals from his injury.
Okay, so now we know how to pick up on the Tkachuk injury until Thanksgiving. So remember, Brady Tkachuk out until Thanksgiving, just so everybody knows, and the thumb surgery went successfully. Matthew Schaefer, 1+ point at +105 tonight. That is the New York Islanders taking on the Edmonton Oilers. Why Schaefer?
If you haven't heard Matthew Schaefer's name yet, get to know this player. He was the #1 pick in the NHL draft this past offseason. He's one of the fastest players in the NHL, and he plays defense, but he might be on a bad team right now. The Islanders have lost their first 3 games, but Matthew Schaefer has been a big highlight for them. He has points in all 3 of his games, and he's 7th in the league in speed bursts, which is an incredible number. He's one of the fastest and most electrifying players already at just 18 years old. So he's an incredible player to watch. He's one of the top defensemen in shots on goal too. So I'd check out his shot prop as well. Again, for an Islander team, he played over 26 minutes the last 2 games for the Islanders as well. So his usage rate is high. That's why I love him for in the point prop market. For again, an Islander team that their record might be 0-3-0, but their underlying numbers are actually pretty good. Playing against also Matthew Schaefer, I always have this feeling about Canadian young players who have looked up to Canadian stars that have come before him, and it doesn't get any bigger than Connor McDavid, right? So he looks over on the other side of the rink and he sees probably a childhood hero of him in Connor McDavid, gives you a little bit of extra motivation. So I kind of like Schaefer tonight as that extra oomph, so to speak.
I love that motivational edge. Jack Eichel is another one of those players that people could look up to. He's had such great seasons recently. The 3 shots on goal, -175, is a lot of juice. So if people want it, they can SGP it, I guess. Why is it worth the juice?
So I understand that. And so Eichel is, first of all, Vegas has completely transformed their roster, especially Eichel's line. Mitch Marner came in during the offseason from Toronto and joined Eichel's line. And the 2 of them, it's been kind of a mixed bag in terms of results so far through the first 4 games. But Eichel is shooting more than ever. He's already has 18 shots on goal in the first 4 games. This is a little bit of an opponent dependent decision. I like that he's playing Boston. Eichel is again from Boston. He's from the Boston area, that little hometown motivation going on. Vegas's head coach, Bruce Cassidy, used to coach the Boston Bruins and led them to a cup final appearance a couple years ago. I think that's a little bit of motivation. The other thing that Boston does is they take a lot of penalties. They've taken 18 minor penalties in the first 4 games. A lot of power play time should be in store for Vegas. And Eichel's one of the best shooters on the power play for Vegas. So that's why I took his shots on goal prop. He's someone, we talked about speed before with Schaefer. Eichel's he's right there. He's one of the fastest players in the league. And that speed is going to be a problem for Boston tonight.
Over to Anaheim, where they're taking on Carolina. You've got a nice anytime goal scorer. Why are you going against the Carolina Hurricanes tonight? So
first of all, you mentioned right off the top one of the greatest stories in the NHL this year. I could have said the Anaheim Ducks. Ariel, you know this in sports and media. You like to be good, right? And if you're not good, you might as well be young, right? Young and then if you combine those 2 together, young and good, it's just a great story. And that's exactly what the Anaheim Ducks are. They're young and good. Chris Kreider is not very young. He came over from the New York Rangers in an offseason trade. But he already has 4 goals in the first 3 games for Anaheim. Anaheim was really bad at entering the offensive zone last year. And you get a player like Chris Kreider, you pair him with Leo Carlsson, who's one of the best players at getting one of Anaheim's few good players who gets into the zone. And then Kreider from there uses his big body, gets to the front of the net, and he can score goals. For an Anaheim team, they've won 2 of their first 3 games. It's against pretty bad competition. This is a huge step up in weight class, facing a Carolina Hurricanes team with Stanley Cup aspirations. But if you remember, Chris Kreider's known in New York around. He's played some great games against the Carolina Hurricanes in his career, especially in the postseason. He has 26 goals in his career in the regular season and the playoffs combined against Carolina. It's kind of why I'm not a huge anytime goal scorer prop fan, but if I'm going to look at one, I would go with Chris Kreider tonight.
Plus 240 is a nice payout as well. The crazy thing about this season here in New York, it's watching the New York Rangers succeed more on the road and then come back to Madison Square Garden and do nothing. Tonight, you're going against those Rangers by taking 23.5 plus saves against them at even money. How come the Rangers struggle now on the road?
So I wouldn't say I'm going against the Rangers.
Okay,
I like over Stola. I like the over shot saves prop for Anthony Stolarz,
because
who's the
they're going to take
goalie
a
of
lot of
the.
shots.
Correct, exactly right. So
I
the
mean, I
Ranger,
interpret it as a negative person saying they're going to miss a lot of shots, but that's great.
it, you could be right, but I looked at this game. The Rangers start. I wouldn't press the panic button right on the Rangers yet. The process. I know, as a data specialist myself, I like look at. I look a lot at process as in terms of looking at results, right? I like the process more than the results. The Rangers' process has been really great, right? They've outshot their opponents. They've had more high quality chances against their opponents. They just played back to back against Washington and Edmonton, two 100-point teams from last season, and they outplayed both of those teams, and they had scored 0 goals. I think if I'm the Rangers, first of all, leaving Madison Square Garden right now is probably a good thing. Get away from the fans who are all chanting to shoot, and you go to a road market like Toronto. I think their strategy is going to be just put the puck on net and hope for good things to happen. And in that case, I looked at Anthony Stolarz, who's a very good goalie, also a New York kid, so might a little bit of motivation him playing his hometown team. He might see a lot of shots tonight, and that's why I'm going over his save props.
It might not be a great home ice advantage because I don't know, those Blue Jays fans might be watching a different game tonight.
We have a lot of Blue Jays fans at the NHL offices because we have one in Toronto, and they have been so excited about the Blue Jays going this year. And living in New York, it's look, I'm not a Yankee fan. I do like baseball. I like playoff baseball, but I'm out on the Blue Jays. I'm totally
No,
out on the Blue Jays. Totally out
see,
on the Blue
Mark.
Jays.
Sorry, Mark. He's a Blue Jays guy,
I'm out on the Blue
but he
Jays.
loves your hockey analysis.
I'll take that. That's why I'm not a good baseball analyst. I'm a poor Mets fan who had a horrible season in the
And has
summer.
a bad
So
taste in baseball teams.
correct. That's
At least you
exactly
have a
right.
good taste in hockey props. Troy Perlowitz, Troy_Perl is where you could find him on social media. You're awesome, and we appreciate all these prop bets. They were really great and super helpful, and I can't wait to have you on again, probably like every week of the hockey season.
I'm always here for you. Thanks so much, Ariel. I really appreciate you having me on.